check your cell phones, and we will get this meeting started. So let's begin and call this meeting to order. Have a roll call, please.
Squire Clem.
Here.
Squire Hicks.
Here.
Squire Muse.
Here.
Squire Pennington.
Here.
Squire Saltzman.
Here.
Squire Thompson.
Here.
Squire Whitehead.
Here.
Squire Yates.
Here.
Judge Tall.
Here. Next we have invocation, Magistrate Saltzman, and the Pledge of Allegiance, Magistrate Muse.
Please pray with me. Father God, we thank you for this time that we can be here to do the business of Hardin County. Father, we pray that you would guide us and direct us. We thank you for everything that you've given us. We pray, Lord, that you would be with those that have been displaced from their homes with the flooding. I pray that you would give them a special touch. Father, we pray for all of the responders that are out there working through the flooding, and we just pray for your guidance as we try to navigate this. Father, we thank you again for this time that we can be here to do your work, and we just pray that you would guide us and direct us in our conversations today, and we thank you for everything you do for us. We thank you for this season of everything coming alive, and I thank you for in a couple of weeks we'll be celebrating the birth of your son Jesus. I'm sorry, the resurrection of your son Jesus, our Savior. Thank you, and amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I neglected to say while we were here, this is the April 8th, 2025 Hardin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting, just in case you're in the wrong room, okay? All right, next would like to just comment on a couple things. First, I'll, as usual, kind of go through the agenda. Fairly simple agenda today. We have some informational presentations today that we'll go through, and then some department reports. After that, any citizens' concerns or comments, and then we have the kind of a short consent agenda today, and then finish up with any comments. So that's the agenda. Again, thanks for joining. It is good to see all of you here today. We have some presenters here, I see. I just wanted to comment, kind of bring anyone that is interested up on maybe status of flooding that in the county. It's where we are seeing some positive things more in the southern part of the county, in Glendale and White Mills, with the Nolan River, receding, and which is a good thing. There's been quite a bit of damage for homes, and various different people flooding in their homes in those areas, all the way down in Sonora and Upton, Eastview. Still have roads that are closed. I believe the last time I looked on the list of county roads, there's still about 28 or so roads, down from I think 37 roads yesterday. So things are starting to improve in some parts of the county. As we move on, of course, in Elizabethtown and Radcliffe, Vine Grove, we're still dealing with some flooding and making some progress there. Still have some displaced folks that are struggling still. We move on north into Colesburg. Thankfully, Rolling Fork River is receding, has started to recede a little bit. I was there late yesterday, and it had gone down maybe a couple of inches, so at least it's going in the right direction. But Colesburg is in a terrible mess. So there were a lot of rescues, water rescues that were happening over the weekend, and I'm happy to say there's been no fatalities. There's been, that I know of, any injuries. And so those are all, at least a big part because of the the people that are out there, the first responders and people that are doing all this work of rescue and working tirelessly all day and all night. I have to give a big shout out to Joey Scott, who's our emergency management director, and he is hitting it. I mean, he didn't sleep last night, and I was with him this afternoon at West Point, and he's pretty tired, and so, but he sticks with it. He has a huge amount of help around him. His volunteer fire department in Valley Creek, they are there helping him, volunteering, and just, I don't even know, the list is so long of how many people and organizations have come together in this community to work through this disaster. We have, right now, the focal point, I guess you would say, is West Point. The Ohio River continues to rise, even now, hoping that it will crest very soon, maybe tonight is the last I heard. And so it is, if you've been to West Point, if you know where the fire station is, the water is up to coming up the steps there beside the fire station, and it's almost even with the fire station coming, ready to come up onto the road there a little bit. So we're hoping that it doesn't get any further up than that, because it's already affected probably 75 to 100 homes in that area. Colesburg's probably a similar number, 75 to 100 homes. And then that's not even counting all the other homes throughout and businesses, for that matter, out in the county and in the cities that have been impacted by all this water. So it's still a huge effort going on there. There's a shelter that's open. Red Cross showed up last night and have that shelter open. They have food available from right there by the City Hall there in West Point for any of the West Point people that need food. Mike McNutt, our animal control director, and some help that he has from his department have been asked to bring some resources over to the shelter for animals that some folks have there that they need to have a place to put them at night and kind of keep them under control. So he's in the process of doing that right now, which is why he won't be here today to present. So, so anyway, all that to say that, I mean, I'm very proud of our county and our communities coming together in so many different ways. You know, our EMS, 911, pitching in multiple ways, volunteer fire departments, the fire departments in our cities. I mean, you can just go down this list. The road department, sometimes you don't think about them, but they're out there trying to clean up debris that's left from the flood. You know, things out in the country, county roads, you know, you have a bunch of corn stalk stuff that just gets left on top of the road and it makes it impassable. So, you know, we have some roads that have been damaged, and so they are trying to start to work on some of those as soon as the water recedes where they can get to them. So there's just a multitude. I mean, we have our jailer back here and you know, our detention center pitching in. I was at West Point and they were helping unload pallets of water and MREs and different things that could be utilized if needed. And so it's the sheriff, he's in here right now, and him and his deputy and others that are patrolling some of these areas. So I know I'm leaving somebody out. It's just, I could just keep going of how much teamwork and collaboration that's been going on. So it's much appreciated. We're not out of the woods. Next steps, of course, we do have a person from FEMA that has been assigned to Hardin County. And so we're getting to know him. He's getting to know us, and we've been taking him around the county to show him how much damage that there is. So we won't have any trouble hitting our threshold amount of money. I think it's about $500,000. We'll hit that obviously very easily. And as soon as that is verified, which could be as soon as tomorrow, then that opens up, once the emergency disaster declaration has been done and been verified by FEMA, then that opens up a whole slew of resources that will be available for people that have been impacted by this flooding. So there's a bit of a process there, and I would ask that people do have a little bit of patience when you're dealing with the federal government. You know, things do take maybe a little longer than what you would think, but we're pushing hard and asking, you know, what can we do? How can we do this faster to open up some of those resources to us? But we will get to those, and we will have the resources that we need. I'm confident of that. So I just wanted to kind of give you an update on where we're at. Just a couple statistics, I guess, that I got from Joey was that we have had 31 water rescue calls, 75 home evacuation assistance, and again, confirming that there's been no fatalities and no injuries from this flooding that we know of. And so again, that is all due to all these different departments and everybody that's been a part of that. I did have a note here to thank Elizabethtown and Fort Knox for some of the water rescue teams that were available in the Colesburg area. They were there to help us, and also we had some adjacent counties that sent some folks over to help us with some of those rescues. So it's been amazing. I'll mention two. I'm sorry, I'll keep going. But the Colesburg Baptist Church opened up their doors. Wasn't really expecting that. Didn't go to them and ask. They just saw the need. And whenever those rescues were happening, they opened up the doors of their church and said, come on in, you know, use this church as a shelter. And they brought in food. They started cooking chili. They had all the food available for all the first responders and the people that were being rescued. And that was just a blessing. I'll tell you that right now. And so we've got another church there in West Point that's opened up their doors for the shelter. So it's just all around, everywhere you look, people are pitching in, and everybody's working together. So it's been great. Anyway, I think that covers that status. We'll move on. Next item is approve Hardin County Fiscal Court 3/25/2025 minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Squire Clem,
Yes.
Squire Hicks,
Yes.
Squire Muse,
Yes.
Squire Pennington,
Yes.
Squire Saltzman,
Yes.
Squire Thompson,
Yes.
Squire Whitehead,
Yes.
Squire Yates,
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right. Next.
We can stay in order. Yeah,
You want to go
I'm
ahead and go
ready.
next?
Sure.
Okay, so next is our Hardin County Attorney, 2024 Fiscal Court update. Jenny Oldham.
Thank you. So hopefully you have my report in your materials, and BK, thank you for pulling that up. I'll go over this. It's fairly long. Just keep in mind, mine's long because I only do it once a year. But I just want to go over, next slide. This is for the calendar year that just ended 2024. These are the lawyers who work at the county attorney's office. There are currently 9 of us. We are actually the largest law firm in Hardin County. If you add the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, you have double the largest law firm in Hardin County that's engaged in criminal prosecution. So there's 124 years of experience with this legal staff, so I think you do have some of the best and brightest lawyers working in the county attorney's office, and you can see them there. There's 34 staff in the office. We are in our second year now in our new space at 117 North Main, and we've almost completely filled it up, to be quite honest. We still have some additional training space that's not used daily, but most of you have seen that upstairs, and we're using that frequently for training. So next slide. Rachel Brown is our newest addition. Rachel was an assistant county attorney in Meade, Grayson, and Breckinridge County and has 12 years of experience. I lost Mark Schaus to retirement and was very fortunate that Rachel happened to be in a Bible study with me and was willing to come to Hardin County, and she's actually moving to Hardin County this summer. So she was able to hit the ground running and has 12 years of experience. Next slide. And then Shelt Lewis, many of you know Shelt. He was at our office for 4 years, went into private practice, and has now come back part-time with us. And then next slide, Mark Schaus came back. So he retired in January, and then he actually started back with us 2 weeks ago. And Mark had over 20 years of experience with us. So I'm very happy to have him back part-time. Next slide. Oops, if you could go one back, thank you. So this is really what the county attorney's office does, kind of divided into 3 parts. What you see circled in the middle, the civil part, is what you see me doing here, which is the county government representation. But that's me and my administrative assistant primarily. You'll see Don Jones from time to time. The balance of those 34 other people are in those other tasks. So criminal, we're doing adult prosecution in district and circuit court, and then juvenile prosecution in district court, and then abuse and neglect prosecution for child protection and family court, and then we also have misdemeanor probation monitoring. We are still the only county in Kentucky that has a full misdemeanor probation. The state funds probation and parole for for felony prosecution and probation. So if someone commits a felony and is put on probation, they have a probation officer. If you commit a misdemeanor and you're put on probation, in the past we just kind of hoped you did it. In other counties, those people have to come back to court and let a judge determine whether they've completed their terms. So in Hardin County, we have 4 staff who monitor that, whether it's restitution, drug treatment, community service, anger management, or any other condition that a judge might place on someone for probation. So that's kind of unique. That is funded not by tax dollars, but by the people who are probated. And so they pay a fee every month to pay for that staff to monitor them. And then in civil, you'll see we also do delinquent tax collection, and then guardianship, Casey's Law, mental health petitions, and I'll talk about those a little more, and then our child support division. So next slide. These next 2 slides just show some of the board and community involvement of me or my staff. And so you can just see those there, and that'll be on the next slide also. Thank you. So you can see we're involved and very busy. The newest on the end of that slide is House Bill 611. Last session required that any child who's missed more than 15 absences, the Director of Pupil Personnel has to conference that case. Those are truants. Has to conference with the county attorney. And so we've set up a monthly meeting so that our DPPs for both of our school systems meet with our abuse and neglect prosecutor and our juvenile prosecutor to decide whether the parent is going to be charged for that child not going to school, whether the juvenile is going to be charged, or whether it is a matter of neglect. And so there's lots of factors we take into account to try to see if we need court intervention and to see what the most appropriate is. Those are large numbers. So the legislature really did tap into some cases that just weren't seeing court intervention. And oftentimes we see what I call the robe effect. Once a family is in front of a judge, they find a way to school. So there are real barriers to that, and we do troubleshoot those as well. Obviously, there's lots of social reasons maybe that kids don't go to school, and so we try to provide those solutions too. Next slide. Child support. Currently, you'll see we have a little over 4,000 open cases. One thing that's getting ready to change for us, our child support division is a contract with the state, and that's housed under the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, which is the largest cabinet in state government and comes with a large bureaucracy. This will change July 1st of this year to the Attorney General's office, which is a little more in line with really what we do. And so we're excited about that transition. General Coleman's been very supportive, and we think we'll see lots of new ideas and perhaps resources and new ways of doing things. So this program has been around since the 80s, and you may wonder, because it really looks like maybe we're debt collectors, but the whole idea behind government collecting child support is that every child has two parents, whether they're involved in that child's life or not, and that child should be entitled to the financial support, if not emotional support, of both those parents. And the government has an interest in that, because if those parents don't support that child, then you support that child. So anyone who's receiving government benefits, we automatically get a referral and have to seek out cooperation of those families to have the parent who's not raising that child pay the government back. So that your tax dollars are not supporting children, but that their parents are. So that's the whole philosophy behind that. And we have 11 caseworkers who work on that day in and day out. We've seen a huge increase in foster care cases. So a child who is in foster care, many times we're also seeking support there. Those come with their own challenges. And then we have a large increase in our paternity cases. So before we can collect support, we have to know who the parents are. And so that's a legal determination that involves oftentimes blood tests. So next slide, please. And just to give you lots of numbers and statistics, I just wanted you to be able to see, kind of what the history looks like. We've been keeping these numbers since 2017. These are our neglect and abuse cases. Each case averages 2 children. So each number you see there is actually multiple children. In 2024, we had 276 families cases where we went to court to establish that there had been abuse or neglect. Many of those cases, those children end up in foster care, many times with relative placements and with court intervention. You can see that went down in the pandemic. Do not draw the conclusion that abuse or neglect went down. I think it went down because children were not being seen by other people out in public or primarily at the schools. And you haven't really you've seen that number in 2024 go up a little, but we are not at pre-pandemic levels. And I don't actually, unfortunately, think that we've seen a decrease in the actual abuse and neglect. So that's still a big challenge. Next slide, please. So just some more numbers with family court. 25% of the petitions we file allege substance abuse in the petition. In reality, so that means the reason is, the family who's raising this child has a substance abuse issue. In reality, we think it's about triple that. When you start peeling back the onion, you'll find that there's addiction or drug abuse involved. So that's an 11% increase from last year. Next slide. Family Recovery Court, I wanted to talk about that. That is partially funded from Phase 1 opioid funds. Phase 1 are the funds that in 2022 were dedicated to the county attorney's office, and then we were given the discretion on how to use that money. And so a portion of that goes to probation monitoring, a portion to our own treatment coordinator, and then the third portion is to Family Recovery Court. And so that's a completely new program that started in 2023, but we took our first case in 2024. Since this slide was made, we actually have 15 families participating. And so $60,000 a year has been committed for the next 5 years to help this program. It's run by Volunteers of America, and we've had really good success with them and with their resources. Many times this reunifies families that have been, children have been placed in foster care, because we can get parents into treatment and get sobriety established, and then we have a few cases where we're able to go into the home and keep that child from being removed at all, which anytime a child's removed, there's a loss there. So, and I can answer any questions either now or at the end of the presentation, but I just want to make sure you all understand that that is something that we've needed for a long time in Hardin County, and that is really starting to see some good results. Next slide. Juvenile delinquency prosecution, we had 420 petitions last year, and you can see that's down 12% from last year. About half of those cases go to court. The rest of those go through a diversion process that doesn't see a judge. Next slide. Traffic prosecution, a little over 11,000 cases. I'll show you the slide that kind of shows where that is, the historical view of that. We do have a county attorney traffic safety diversion program and an Alive at 25 diversion program. Anyone who's 25 and younger can go to that Alive at 25. It's an in-person program that's very effective that the state police put on, and that teaches some defensive driving and a lot of safety education. 12% of those cases go through that traffic safety diversion, and there's some benefits to insurance and also saves you points on your license on that. So that might be helpful information if you ever find yourself in that situation. Next slide, please. This is just information about the misdemeanor cases we prosecuted last year. 16% of those involved domestic violence. Another 13% had other identified victims, could be a theft, could be harassment, and then 67% of those cases we are monitoring for probation. Next slide. Felony prosecution. So our office prosecutes any felony that was arrested. I was going to say last night, but the Justice Center's closed, so nobody's prosecuting this right now for the week. But last night, it's normally when someone's arrested by the police, the next morning they'll be arraigned in district court. We prosecute those through a preliminary hearing stage, and then those go on to the grand jury and Commonwealth attorney. So there were 1,300 of those last year. 11% of those are domestic violence related. Many of those are strangulation cases. And 22% of those were resolved by rocket docket. And Fiscal Court does fund a portion of rocket docket, $50,000 a year that goes toward that. And the benefit of that, those 22% of those cases, those are cases that we know either need treatment, or we know because it's a fairly standard set of facts that those are going to go to incarceration, and we're able to do those much more quickly and get that off the county funding and have state reimbursement for that. So that's a benefit far beyond the $50,000 that's invested there. Next slide. Just other court of justice duties, mental inquest petitions when someone needs involuntary treatment for mental health. We did 52 of those petitions last year. 131 guardianship petitions. Someone who needs assistance with living arrangements or medical care if they don't have a power of attorney, and we do see a lot of these. The court goes in and appoints a guardian. So in order to take your rights, have someone else step in your stead, a court has to order that. And so we did 131 of those. 22 Casey's Law petitions, which is involuntary drug treatment. A lot of people don't know this exists, but if you, it doesn't have to be a relative, as long as you have access to the information that the court needs. But if there's someone that is a danger to themselves or others and would benefit from treatment, you can petition the court to require them to go into treatment. And we did 22 of those, and we hear story after story of lives saved through that process. 2 petitions that involve both drug and mental health treatment. I just mentioned that we did 4 special prosecution cases in other counties, and we had 2 appeals. Next slide. Trial preparation. Obviously, not all of the thousands of cases I've told you about go to trial, but we did prepare for trial in a fair amount of those. So this kind of reflects those numbers. 363. We did trial preparation where we give all the information from our investigation, from law enforcement investigation, to the defense in order to prepare for trial. Next slide. I wanted to talk briefly about the treatment coordinator because that was the other portion of Phase 1 opioid funds. That started January of 2023. And so these are cases that are already involved in court. Very different from what the QRT is doing for the county, but those are non-court, QRT is non-court involved. So once they are in court, we have a treatment coordinator in my office who's full-time. And this is not a get out of jail free, this is not in lieu of prosecution. Typically this is when treatment is going to be a condition of probation. Or maybe even release pending trial to get treatment when someone may have an emergency need for treatment. But Katie Bennett is our treatment coordinator, and she's assessed 55 separate cases, and 47% of those are in progress in treatment right now. 31% have completed successfully, and then 12% of those are non-compliant. If you look at numbers in other programs, that 12% non-compliance is actually a pretty good number. A lot of that is because this is court-ordered, and obviously, if it's not completed, typically that means incarceration. So when they're non-compliant, they don't just go home. So that's, we've seen good success with that. That 47% of 55, so roughly 50% of those are, 25, 27 people who are doing well in treatment and in aftercare. And we're working now in the second year to kind of beef up the aftercare so that Katie is checking in with those people 6 months, 12 months, 2 years later to see how they're doing and see if they need something. So thank you for that. Next slide. Just to show you the trends in caseloads, so 37% decrease in misdemeanor filings since that 2007 year that we started tracking these. So that's quite a decrease. 29% decrease in the last decade, 30% since our pre-COVID year of 2019. I don't really have an explanation for what that is other than the legislature has made a lot of criminal offenses felonies that used to be misdemeanors. So it may be the same conduct being arrested, but it's called something else now. So, let's see. I will tell you, we are not still trying cases from COVID. Many jurisdictions completely shut down during COVID. We did not. Those jurisdictions are still, finishing cases that are 3 to 5 years old. We are not. I did mention that the Justice Centers closed this week. That's because the electrical system had to be shut down because of the flooding, and so no one was able to enter that building until inspections. There are still being arrests made. There are still being some emergency hearings by Zoom, but that was the server that's required to keep a record of all of court justice proceedings is actually a hard drive server and not in the cloud. And so we have not been able to do much. I've been told right before this that we do expect to be back up on Monday. And so we'll be working through the backlog from last week, so from this week. But hopefully it'll just be that 1 week pause. And then next slide are traffic cases. You can kind of see a dip there in 2013 and 14. Someone who knows more than I do about law enforcement priorities could probably tell you what that is. I would guess it was maybe different federal funding for overtime to write tickets. 43% decrease since our all-time high in 2007. It's a 52% increase from 10 years ago. We are basically at our pre-COVID level in 2019. Law enforcement priorities, differ based on the year, based on, overtime available, how much law enforcement is spending time on investigations. I mean, if they're, investigating murders, there's less time to write tickets. If they're investigating child abuse, domestic violence, there's less time to write tickets. And so I think you see that reflection. Next slide, DUI cases. So these are just DUIs, 10-year average. Over the last 10 years, we've averaged 716 a year. You can see the peak there in 2012, which was the year that the cities went wet, but that leveled off pretty quickly. Let's see. So the 10-year average is 716. If you look at the 6 years prior to that, so 2009 through 15, we were averaging 856. So our average is down, and that's a good thing. I will tell you that more than half of the DUIs arrested now in the whole state of Kentucky are now drug impaired or drug and alcohol. So, 25 years ago, it was 85 to 95% alcohol, but now we're seeing more drugs than alcohol and impairment. So I think it's really important for people to understand, especially with medical marijuana now being in the mix, that a medical marijuana card does not entitle you to drive while under the influence. If the medical marijuana is doing its job, it is likely also impairing. So I don't want anybody to be surprised, just like other prescription medications. If you're using them and they're doing their job, many times they're also impairing you and preventing you from driving safely. So we prosecute people for prescription DUIs all the time. And so we'll be doing that with medical marijuana as well. So no surprises. Next slide. This is the felony rocket docket numbers. You can see the percentage there, and like I said, you all have invested $50,000 a year toward this through the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, and you can see those raw numbers and the percentages. So that continues to be a very worthwhile investment in dollars and cents, in my opinion. Next slide. Detention Center, Josh can talk to this better than I can, but you can see, unless he corrects me if I'm wrong, we have a capacity of 600. And it's a medium security facility. We had, and you can see that red line, which is capacity. 2023, we were right at capacity. We're a little bit under, but not today, I'm certain. So you can see what those numbers are. In 16 through 19, we were running over that regularly. Next slide. Just wanted to mention kind of as I go back over the year, so this is something that the numbers don't reveal, but this was the day that, you know, our office had a huge wake-up call when there was, you know, the murder of 2 people outside our office. And, you know, we heard the gunfire and we went into lockdown. That's when we knew how important that security that you all provide, that we have a sheriff's deputy that the sheriff's office gives us, and that you all fund, so that we had security in our office. That was the person who was first on the scene. That was the person who somehow managed to lock us down and get to the scene first. And though I had staff who witnessed it, physically we were all safe, and not something I want to go through again. So next slide. Physical plant upgrades. We now have a secure key entry system. What we learned on August 19th is the staff person who had stepped out to go to court, and that's 6 other people had just gone that same path, could not get back into the building because she had to find her key. And so now we have a secure card key, so you hold it up and you don't have to look for keys. And so that should help us get in and out quicker. We also have what's called pink noise. I've had questions about that. So pink noise is like white noise, except it's a different frequency. It basically sounds like HVAC. Once you get used to it, you don't hear it. But because of the way the acoustics in our building, it was necessary. We have lots of confidential things going on, and we could hear each other. So the pink noise, feel free to hop by and I'll let you listen to my pink noise, but I think it actually raises the temperature because it doesn't, but it feels like heat. It sounds like heat, it doesn't feel like heat. But we've added that, and that has actually helped a lot of our noise issues. We also added reflective window tint for some security purposes from some things we learned on August 19th. Next slide. So when I made this, we were fully staffed. That lasted for 3 weeks, and that was a great 3 weeks that I enjoyed. So we are no longer fully staffed, but I'm now down 1 attorney, which I'll be hiring soon. So we have been able this year to add staff in CAMS, which is our county attorney monitoring system for probation. We were able to add administrative support. We've also added a full-time juvenile court assistant, and the 2 full-time victim advocates. Those positions were there, but we had not been able to hire into that second one until this year. And that is, again, I want to thank you all for the extra budget support. Because of that, we were able to do these things. The physical plant upgrades, because the fees we bring in did not have to go towards staffing, and we've been able to retain our staff, which has been the biggest benefit, because they're making solid wages. So I really appreciate that. Next slide. So into 2025, we're working hard on truancy. A lot of those cases are going to court, but we're hoping to reduce those numbers. The explosion after COVID it has really been a tough problem to try to find good solutions to. There's lots of students not in court, and we're gonna suffer those consequences for years if we don't change that. We also are trying to add resources to our treatment options. Our treatment coordinator spends lots of time going to specific treatment facilities to make sure because there's all kinds of different treatment. We want to make sure that these are treatment facilities with integrity, that have good track records, who are willing to communicate with the court and have that accountability piece. So we want to make sure that we're not sending people just someplace to pass time. Then also expand technology in the courtroom. I don't know if you've been to the courtroom. We're a little behind probably a lot of professions. And so we're trying to expand our use and, not use whiteboards and big, thick TVs. So we're trying to expand some of our technology use. And then law enforcement training to continue to have the time to do that. And we have one of those scheduled for May 8th. And then next slide. Just wanted to mention Allison Pike, who was my administrative assistant who passed away on November 24th. So her family continues to be a part of the county attorney's office family. You can see her kids and her husband there, Russ. And we continue to have the benefit of her work. You know, almost every day we wonder how to do something, and it'll literally come up on her calendar that tells us what to do. She was very organized. I don't think she was planning to leave us, but the way she was organized, you would almost think that she was. So you see memes sometimes that say your work doesn't matter, and if you die, they'll replace you. I don't believe that. So her legacy continues to impact us. So the work that people do does, I think, live on. So. All right, any questions? That was long, sorry. It was a year.
The House Bill 611, is that
Yes.
increasing your workload considerably?
It is increasing our workload. That kind of added to the need for a full-time juvenile court administrative assistant. So those monthly meetings and just the number of filings, and it's
But that will
increasing
pay
dockets.
off in probably reduction in other cases
Yes.
because truant situations bring on others.
Yes, they fuel so much.
And getting students where they need to be and
Yep.
young people is very important. So
Absolutely,
thank you.
yes, absolutely. What other questions?
You mentioned the Justice Center and its current condition, flooding. The budget bill, I guess, last year slipped a little paragraph
Tidbit.
or in there that maybe we would be responsible or be compelled to take that building back 60 days after they replace the air conditioning units. Has that changed any, or is that still part of it?
So, yes, so not this past session, but the session before, unbeknownst to any of us, because right now the Hardin County Justice Center is the only justice center in Kentucky that is owned by the state. Most are owned by local governments. And so we declined to own this one. And 6 months, I believe, after the HVAC system is complete, it says that we will have the deed to the building. So we'll see. The HVAC is scheduled, that project's scheduled to begin, we think, in August and to take about a year. So best timeline would be the beginning of 27. There will likely be a question about the ownership of that building.
I do have a comment.
Yep.
It's been my personal privilege to work with Jenny and her staff for over 14 years, and I don't believe it's a stretch to say that I don't think there's another county attorney office in the whole Commonwealth that has to cover what you cover now and what you had to cover in the past too. Very few have 3 divisions that you deal with like you do. I've had Bosque, Blue Oval, come to our community and all the legal work that was behind that, and also the sale of a hospital that was a 2-year project. I don't know how you do everything that you all do, but you do it well. We appreciate you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I have a great staff. I really have a great staff, and if you haven't, been there or had need to have them, I hope you agree. If you don't agree, tell me. 34 people, there's always going to be issues that aren't handled perfectly, but I do think they're there for the right reasons, and I do think, honestly, the financial support in my budget has gone a long way toward them understanding that their work is important to the county. And retention is, I think all of us who hire people, is almost more important than recruitment. I mean, you can get people in the door, but if you can't keep them, you're constantly spending money and you're constantly frustrated. And so we're really seeing that retention piece pay off right now, and I appreciate that very much.
Great leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Rural Secondary Program, and Brad Bottoms, or his representative, will present.
Thank you, Judge and members of the Fiscal Court. My name is Bo Warren. I'm the branch manager for construction and maintenance on the western half of our district. And with us today, I have Brad Bottoms. He's our chief district engineer, and Cody Ditto. He's our maintenance engineer for Hardin County. So to begin with, we'd like to remind you how our rural secondary program is funded. So our rural secondary program is funded by 22.2% of the motor fuels tax receipts. These funds are allocated to all 120 counties based on a 5-point formula, and that formula is based on 1/5 equally among all counties, 1/5 based on the rural population, 1/5 based on the road miles, and 2/5 based on the land area. And once that money is allocated to a county, it cannot be transferred to any other county. So our first priority is going to be the routine maintenance and traffic. Covers our salting and plowing of our roads, ditching, and things like that for our maintenance crews. That cost is estimated at $862,000 this year. Our second priority is the flex funds that goes back to the county. That's estimated at $340,262. Our third priority is an asphalt resurfacing project on Kentucky 720 from Kentucky 2800 at mile point 4.048 to Kentucky 84 at mile point 10.802 for a total distance of 6.754 miles and an estimated cost of $797,743. Our fourth priority is an asphalt resurfacing project on Kentucky 1391 from the Hart County line at mile point 0 to Kentucky 224 at mile point 0.778 for a distance of 0.778 miles and an estimated cost of $87,142. Our last priority is a resurfacing project on Kentucky 222 from US 62 at mile point 0 to Crump Lane at mile point 3.528 for a distance of 3.528 miles and an estimated cost of $389,788. So all those totaled up, it gives us our total budget for the year of $2,476,935.
Any questions?
Just a comment, I suppose. Very important priorities. And this is probably in the offing somewhere, but Highway 1136 and the heavy usage during the mosque construction, it continues to have deteriorating surfaces. I'm hoping that somewhere in the offing there's a plan for that to be improved. Some of you probably drive that as much as I do, but it continues to have areas that are just breaking down.
Yeah, we evaluate our RS routes usually before we build our recommendations.
Yes, and these are quite good.
Try to pick the ones that are some of our worst routes, and we have
I
to rank those based on the deterioration. Yeah. So they are looked at every year whenever we get our program together.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other
questions about that or any of our other projects that we have ongoing in the cabinet?
$2.5 million well spent. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we will move on then to department and office reports. As I mentioned, Mike McNutt is not here today, called out to West Point, so we will, his presentation is available. So we'll move on to the Detention Center, Josh Lindblom.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Back up a little bit, everybody. First, I'd like to give a big shout out to BK because I left my report at the jail and she took care of me and got me another page. So we're good, you know. So March 2025, Hardin County Detention Center. Lodging income of $303,000, $240.44. Intake for the month was 530. Release for the month was 541. Average daily population 579 with temporary releases and 541 without. As you see, we are still slowly dwindling down our state prisoners. Another thing that changed this year was also with the changing of some of the Class A or D's to C's and different things and stuff that are going to affect in July. So we're really watching that. One good thing is we have talked a little bit more to the Marshal Service about housing some federal prisoners. We'll talk more about that here in the next month or so. That might be a positive thing. All right, so as you see, just like I was talking about earlier, operating influence is 58 for the month. Assault fourth degree is 30, possession of marijuana 33, violation of Kentucky EPO DVO 5, non-payment of fines 21, theft by deception, cold checks 3, shoplifting of 17, felony charges, burglary first, second, third 8, robbery first and second 2, assault first, second, third 5, possession of controlled substance 56, flagrant non-support 7, trafficking in illegal substance 24, and weekender total is 102. So it seems like the weekender totals are going up, so that's a good push. Inmate work hours, of course, the inmates have been busy out working and taking care of a lot of projects already. Come spring, it's always a big time for them to get out and do a lot more. We're wrapping up our firewood cutting and donating, and now it's starting mowing season, so it's a busy time. But inmate work hours 8,904, and savings if you would have had to sit there and pay somebody to do that instead of just the minimum wage, $54,520. I know a couple of y'all asked if we can get it equated to what an actual person on the payroll for the county would be, which I still equate the minimum wage just to make sure, I don't want to get you on a high number. But outside agencies, 1,384. All right, medical. This has been a real point of contention for me the last couple months. Outside appointments, 36. Emergency room visits, 2. Nursing visits inside the facility, 1,182. Medical requests, 142. Hospital admissions, 1. Inmates on medication, 307. So we have 307 inmates out of our whole population that are on medication. So that's always a horrible thing because that's what costs a lot of money. But even though our medical provider does provide us, cut rate deals on medication, it's still high. So when we say outside appointments, the 36, we now not only do we have the 2 people that were costing us a lot of money for dialysis, now we have 3, and all of them are violent offenders that cannot be released to the public. So just let you know that it's a hard thing to have to pay $7,000 plus a week for dialysis. So
can you just put them all in the cell together?
I could hear you. What'd you say?
I said, can you just put all 3 of them in the cell together?
Well, they can be, but they still have to go to dialysis 3 days a week each. So, but all right. So inmate road trash cleanup program. Of course, you see they have been busy. 64.6 miles of roads and 1,230 bags of trash. One thing that was going on this month was the tire collection. There was 12 inmates and 4 deputies out there the whole time during the 3 days of tire collection, and collected over, I think they said over 50,000 tires or something like that. It was an ungodly amount of tires. So at least they're not ending up on the sides of the roads. So in the last couple of days, just to let y'all know, Bullitt County Detention Center had to evacuate due to floods. And between 6 jails, we divvied up all their prisoners and moved them. And of course, Bullitt County did a great job moving them between their school system and their bus drivers and their deputies. We ended up with 37 of their prisoners. And they come in on, wanting to say Friday, and they were already back out by this morning. So they picked them back up and repopulated their jail. So we ended up taking 37. I know Grayson County Detention Center next to us took 157. So it goes to show you that cooperation we talked about earlier about different counties and how they work with each other to help each other out. So it's a big thing. Like I said, all the jails around here, of course, there was 2 that were in danger of having to be evacuated. Only 1 had to be evacuated. So the other one would have been a bear because it was 650 people. So just goes to show you what you have to do when it comes to that kind of stuff. As for this week, you will see that we're kind of behind the scenes people when it comes to these storms and everything, because once it gets trashed up and everything gets, where they have to get logs removed and trees cut down and everything else, that's where we come in and start doing all that stuff. Of course, right now we've been in contact with every mayor, lots of government officials and stuff in there for every municipality in Hardin County, and we got them set up kind of a plan of what we need to do and stuff to help them out. They're pretty pleased with that, and we'll start doing that. Of course, anything we need to do, hauling stuff and getting stuff together, and just keeping emergency stuff set up at the jail ready to go, just in case we did have to move people down to the lobby or something like that, you know. I mean, we do have a lobby that's open 24 hours a day that actually is a tornado shelter, so there has been some people come and sit the whole time during the tornado warnings and just kind of watch TV out in the lobby and, of course, make popcorn and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so in the next couple of weeks, you'll see us out and about, just really hammer it pretty hard, putting some extra crews out on the road to make sure the county bounces back pretty quick. So, any questions on anything?
I just want to say thank you, Josh. Every time I call you about a illegal dump or, you know, trash on the side of the road, you guys always take care of it, and I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping the county clean.
They work really hard.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, and thanks in advance for the cleanup that you're going to be facing here very soon. So thanks.
I tell you, you know, it's weird to see, like, you know, how the progression of everything, but I will tell you this, the community comes together pretty well when it comes to things like this, and of course all the agencies work well together, and it just it all comes together. I mean, West Point will be bounced back in a couple of days. They seem like they have done to a science now, so it's pretty wild to see. So, but hopefully people get back to their houses soon.
It's all a cooperative effort. Thank you.
And I will say this, I have worked with Jenny Oldham's office for about 2 decades. I just want to say they're all right. They're pretty good people. You know.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Josh.
All right. Next up is emergency management. Obviously, Joey Scott is in West Point, but I believe, Mark, are you going to present for him? All right, so Mark Peterson will present.
I will try to answer any of the questions, but I don't know all his lingo and all the things that they do. But he's obviously been very, very busy since about Thursday night. So if you get a chance to see him or draw him a text or something to thank him, he'd appreciate it. So I've got the March report for emergency management. Significant actions. They participated in a local emergency planning committee meeting. They had several meetings concerning the Hardin County Emergency Services Study. They had a regional Kentucky EM Area 4 regional meeting. Participated in the Hardin County Fire Chiefs meeting and HAZCOM's conference meeting, and then a meeting that we had with West Hardin Fire Department. Emergency incidents. This list, of course, will be a lot longer, his next brief, but he dealt with a missing person in West Point, had some wildfires on Round Topple Road, one in Vine Grove, one in eastern Hardin County, pretty significant structure fire in southern Hardin County, and then a wildland fire response mutual aid with Grayson County. Their training, they did some pipeline excavator training with E-Town, and then did an exercise with Taylor County shortly after that. Also participated in the Healthcare Emergency Response Association training, and then our monthly safety committee training as well. And I will try to answer any questions you may have from Mr. Scott.
Just big thanks for all that he's doing right now.
Yeah, he is doing one heck of a job. Yeah, absolutely.
Not necessarily, I guess this is time for this, but maybe, Judge, you may know, did FEMA say how long they were planning on being here?
Yes, this one guy that they've sent, somehow they're kind of on a contract type of deal, so he is here at least through the 18th of April, and he is trying to get approval maybe for 2 weeks past that, which would be fantastic, rather than him leaving and then somebody else coming and not familiar with what's going on and taking over for him.
Gotcha.
So, but they're going to be here. FEMA themselves will be here through the duration.
Gotcha. And the citizens that are in the city, like City of E-Town, are they all reporting to the same FEMA representative?
It's all the same. Okay. Yes, it's kind of through Joey into that FEMA person.
And then the declaration that you mentioned, is that all going to go through, is that state level or is that the federal government?
Actually, there's been a declaration at all 3 levels. Okay. I did the declaration, emergency declaration. It was Friday, And then the state, of course, had also done one, and now the federal government for the state of Kentucky. So I mentioned before, there's about a $500,000 threshold that we have to prove to FEMA, and then that will open up all kinds of resources as soon as that is done. But there's some surveys that have to be done, and they basically have to prove, that we've reached that threshold, which we will.
Anything else for Joey?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so there are some additional written reports available, Public Works, Engineering, and the Road Department. Brings us to the next item, which is the citizens' concerns or comments. Anybody have any comments, concerns you want to bring to the court at this moment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on then. We have the consent agenda, and as usual, I'll do my best to review these agenda items. The first, item A and item D are both financial claims, and also Resolution 64, which is the approval of financial transfers. The next two, B and C, are both Resolution 62, 63, and actually 65 are all related to some personnel changes. And then the last one, item F, this is Resolution 66, and it's related to the approval of an amendment to the Windstream agreement that we currently have. And just to give a little bit of additional information about this one, since it hasn't actually been to committee. This is, it came to my attention fairly recently that we were having lots of dropped calls in our phone system. I honestly was not aware of this, and so as soon as it came to my attention, mainly through a discussion, a meeting that we're having with our county clerk and some of the issues that they were having, also found out that our animal control department was also having dropped calls and others. So through that discussion and realization that we had a problem, we jumped on some investigation, and primarily with our IT director, Aaron Miller, and also Mike Leo also was helping us with that. We found out that our current provider, that their service was, let's just say, it was a somewhat substandard. It was not a fiber type of internet type of service, so that seems to have been the cause of some of our issues with this. And so looking deeper into that, there was some discussions with Windstream, and through some negotiations with them, we know that they already have fiber that's dedicated fiber coming into the building, and that we would be able to have some dedicated resources through that fiber service for our phones, and that this would take care of dropped calls. So through that, all of that, we were able to determine and that it would be about $602 a month, which is more than what it currently is with them. But through dropping our current provider, and then also this additional service from Windstream would also be helpful for our 911 service. We're able to kind of split some costs there, and at the end of the day, end up about the same amount of money that we're spending now, and end up with a lot better service, especially our phone service. So, so the reason that didn't bring it to committee is because we've got all this laid out. We ran the amended agreement back through Jenny, and she's looked at it and everything. So basically, just wanted to go ahead and pursue this and get this done and take care of these dropped calls as quickly as possible. There is a time lag. You know, it's not going to happen tomorrow if we do this today, but it will at least start the clock fast enough that we can get this taken care of. So that's my explanation of that one. Okay, so after reviewing those, does anyone want to remove any of these items? And if so, which one would you like to remove to address separately?
I would like to remove item F so we can discuss it, please.
Okay, we will remove that. So is there, so that item F is now removed from the consent agenda, and we will address this item after we vote on the rest of the items in the consent agenda. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Moved. Who moved it?
Somebody over there.
I think Square Pennington.
I did.
Okay.
Moved
Moved it, and who seconded it?
Everyone of us.
Three.
Half the port.
I think, yeah, I think Square.
Five of us, I think.
Okay.
I've got Square Pennington moving and Square Hicks seconding. Is that?
He said it the loudest, I think, so I think
Okay.
we'll go with that.
Okay.
All right. All right, let's move on then to a roll call, please.
Square Clem?
Yes.
Square Hicks?
Yes.
Square Muse?
Yes.
Square Pennington?
Yes.
Square Saltzman?
Yes.
Square Thompson?
Yes.
Square Whitehead?
Yes.
Square Yates? Yes. Judge Tall?
Yes, motion carries. All right, we will now address item F. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 66?
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to get that to the lady this time.
Okay, very good. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I would just like to make a point to, for the record, to show that you already said that it was not brought to committee. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had complaints that a resolution was brought before the court with no prior knowledge, but to contrary of that, there was prior knowledge. It was mentioned in committee meeting that that resolution would be brought before the fiscal court at the next meeting. So I don't understand why there was big surprises, but this is a big surprise. I understand that it may be day-to-day operations, but if it requires us to vote on it, to me, that's not a day-to-day operation. When we got our agenda on Thursday, it was not on our Thursday agenda. This was not added until yesterday afternoon. As Mr. Muse, Squire Muse mentioned last week, things get added, we get frustrated. A couple weeks ago he said that. We get frustrated. As I can quote Squire Hicks also, you know, not bringing it before the committee and just popping it to us the day before we vote on it. You know, it kind of looks like you're trying to come in on the back door. Is that right, Larry? Trying to come in, slide something in on the back door on us. I do agree that our phone system is bad. I have seen on Facebook several times from posted from the clerk's office that our phone system is down. You know, you can't reach us. I've seen that since our first year in office. So I don't really see the big rush of why it had to be done today, since it's been an ongoing problem for a long time. So I just would like to say that I'm disappointed that it was not brought before the committee. That's all I have.
Okay.
I was the same as last meeting we had. I was disappointed too. And you all come in right through the back door. I'll say that again. And it wasn't, you know, what was the big hurry there? So,
well, I'd like to disagree with you on that.
This is a repeat of that.
No, I don't think it's a repeat. I'd like to disagree. I have a recording from our last committee meeting where Mr. Yates said that he would bring a resolution to fiscal court to put a stop to this discussion about the sale of the Pearl Hollow landfill. So it's not a huge surprise that he brought it. And I think it's a little different because, like I said, there was no this was not even on our Thursday agenda. It popped up yesterday. So there's no comparing the two.
Well, I make a motion that we review this then, if it's...
So do you want to table it?
No, I mean, I'd like to, I mean, I want to find out what the problem is here. Can we discuss that right now, or?
Yeah.
What we're doing?
Yeah, you can discuss it. Okay. What further comment do you have, or do you?
Well, I'd like to hear from Kenny what the problem is.
Okay.
Why has he got a problem with it? I mean, does anybody else have a problem here with it? I'd like to just know.
I think I stated my problem. The problem was that it was not brought before committee. It was not on our Thursday agenda. It was added to our yesterday agenda, which we shouldn't even be getting an agenda yesterday. It should have been out on Thursday.
And the
That's
same
my
thing
problem.
went along with the landfill.
No. Mr. Yates told us 2 weeks before that he was going to bring a resolution to court for the landfill.
But there was no resolution ever drawn up.
Yeah, he had one drawn up. It didn't come before the committee, but he told the committee that we were going to stop it. Now, the urgency of stopping that was to not continue to waste county dollars of our whole engineering department, our deputy judge executive, and the solid waste of spending their time trying to find out why we should do a bike park over there.
Okay, we can sit there and beat
So
a
that
dead
is
horse
the
all day.
urgency of that, to stop that,
What
sir.
is your problem with this?
I just said I have a problem with it not being on the agenda on time.
Okay, what do you want to do about it?
I just voiced my concern, and that's all I wanted to do about it.
Okay, so can we go on and vote for it?
I don't know. Are you in charge of the meeting now?
No.
Well, it sure sounds like it.
All right, so that's enough. Yeah, just a comment. I mean, even though this particular item was added to the agenda yesterday, I can assure you there's no, I mean, this is about a $7,000 annual charge that we're talking about here, and in a $60 million budget.
Yes, sir. And
And
if we
so
added
if-
up all
and
of the little woods
also-
that you
also,
talk
I'm not
about,
finished.
they would add up to a whole lot more than that.
Let me finish.
Sure.
And the other thing is that, yeah, even if it was added yesterday, there was ample time to call me and ask me about it if there was if you didn't understand it or didn't, if there was some concern about this particular item.
I sent an email to your office, and the only response I got was, I didn't have it last week. I got it just today.
Okay.
It was late last week before I got it, so that's why it wasn't on there.
You can, if that's not enough, you could always feel free to call me. Okay?
Yep.
And I'll be happy to explain it. Any other comment before we vote on this? All right, let's go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Okay, yeah, I thought you said Yates. Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, we will move on then to our comment time. So, County Attorney, do you have any further?
You'll turn it up to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
No. All right, County Clerk.
No, thank you.
All right, Magistrate Yates.
I just want to say that I appreciate all the hard work that our emergency services have been doing over the past week. I know they put in long hours from our EMS, Sheriff's Department, Joy Scott, so appreciate all their hard work. Also, thoughts and prayers out to all the flood victims. I know they've got a long road ahead of them, so thoughts and prayers to them. And our next emergency service meeting will be Thursday at 3:30. Mr. Pennington will be chairing that, as I will be out of town.
All right, very good. Magistrate Saltzman.
Yes, I'd just like to tag Mr. Yates there and also thank the volunteers and everyone that's helping all the emergency services, and also prayers for everyone who's been displaced. Thank you.
All right, Magistrate Whitehead.
Yes, first and foremost, thank you to the first responders. thank you to our county government officials who have been out there and made assessments and been out there to actually see what's going on and to be there for the folks in our community and to offer help and assistance. I appreciate that. Our social media presence was very strong, and I did my best to share all of those posts so that our community could keep updated, you know, in a timely manner. Thank you to Colesburg Baptist Church for opening their church up for those displaced families. Really appreciate that. And my prayers, my thoughts go out to the families in our community who have just had total devastation in their homes, and I just, you know, keep them in my prayers nonstop. And thank you to all those involved in helping those families. The next Resources and Community Support Committee meeting will be Monday, April 14th at 3:30. And just want to say one last thing. The word cooperative comes to mind today. Cooperation, cooperative efforts in getting our families, our community back together, working together as a team, working together to solve solutions such as what the flood has presented, the natural disaster of this flood. I'd like to use that word also, cooperative, cooperation, working together as a fiscal court, as a group of folks that respect each other and that want to make the best decisions that we possibly can for this community. That's what we're here for. And I just want to emphasize that today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Clem.
Yes, Judge. The next Finance Committee meeting will be Tuesday, April the 15th at 3:30 across the hall. And again, remind folks that the Town Hall Forum has a change of date this time. It's April the 28th here in the courtroom at 5:30 p.m. And I, too, want to echo my sentiments, as others have, toward all those that have been affected by the floodwaters. I spent 48 years handling those situations with folks, and I know what they're involved in, and they've got a lot in front of them, and they're going to need a lot of help. And hopefully FEMA and the state will be able to jump in with us here and partner with us and provide those funds and things needed to bring people back to, they never make them whole, but they get them back as close as possible, hopefully. And so I'll continue to keep all those folks in our prayers. And of course, our county response, Joey, and the road department, everyone involved has been great, and we appreciate them. That's all.
All right, thank you.
Fred, you're not done.
Oh, don't drink and drive, don't text and drive.
Come on.
All right, thanks.
I'm getting old.
Magistrate Pennington.
Yeah, I just, you know, I obviously have a lot of appreciation for our county employees and our first responders, but I also don't want to forget all the city workers and all the cities, the mayors. If I'm not mistaken, every single mayor's been out, they've been present, they've been involved, and, you know, I've seen JJ, I've seen Cerisi, I've seen Pam, I've seen everybody involved. Very fortunate that Mayor Jeff Gregory is my mayor, and I got to spend time with him out on the roads. I've experienced the roads with him and seeing areas of E-Town that I've never experienced being flooded. And I'm just appreciative of all the city workers, all the road department. And I don't think people realize why stormwater is extremely important. Wastewater, and the fact that we have a plant that's not designed to take on what it takes on currently. But the fact that they all were there just like a firehouse. They were there 24/7 to make sure that they were able to make it through. So just really thankful for our city. You know, obviously I represent E-Town, mostly downtown E-Town. We've experienced a lot of flooding in my area. And so just thankful for the city's response, their proactiveness, and just the understanding that the city government had in making sure that all the citizens were taken care of. So I just want to say thank you to Jeff and everything that he's done for our city.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Thompson.
Just thank you on behalf of the citizens of Hardin County to all who've seen us through this. God bless.
All right. Magistrate Hicks.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that was give a helping hand, went above and beyond what they had to do, and I just want to thank you all personally for all that.
Thank you. And Magistrate Muse?
And I'd just like to echo Aaron's congratulations to some of the cities. For my city, it's Vine Grove. They had some flooding and the Public Works took care of them. And our next Public Works Committee meeting's tomorrow at 3:30 across the hall.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Same time, same station.
Okay, our next fiscal court meeting is April 22nd at 5:30. I did want, when I was sitting here thinking, I left out a couple that I feel like I should say thank you to. One is actually Senator Matt Deneen. He's been at West Point, been all over the county, but at West Point the last, I think, 3 or 4 days. He was there when I left this afternoon, and just wanting to know, what types of help that we need from the state. And so he's on top of it and ready to help. And there are some things that we could get help from him. So appreciate him there. The state emergency management, they've got a person helping us and here on the ground. Also, even though our state road department folks left, I did want to say I appreciate them because we do have quite a few state roads that needed to be marked off, and even down to the Western Kentucky Parkway. When I was out there, they had 3 trucks out there monitoring that situation. So, it's not something that they necessarily had to do, but I was really happy that they did, and keep people from having accidents on Western Kentucky Parkway. Hardin County Schools, I didn't mention them before. They brought some additional food today to the shelter and to the students and children out in the West Point area to try to help them through this emergency. So, and I did have marked here too that I didn't maybe mention enough about the mayors and how they, especially Mayor Gregory, who's reached out to me and offered any support that Elizabethtown can offer. So that's always very helpful whenever that happens. So again, just everybody, and I'm sure I've still left out some organizations and people that have been very helpful through this so far. We got a lot to go. There's still, like I said before, still roads that are dangerous. And so let's all be very aware of that and be safe and help each other out, continue to help each other out through these difficult times. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Any objections? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.